Hey everybody, Brian with Side by Side Journey. Going to be doing an exhaust on the 2024 RZR XP1000. I wanted to show you what it takes to get to the exhaust, and then also I'll give a clip of the machine before the exhaust goes on, and then we'll also do one after as well, just so you can hear the difference between the two, because that's one of the things that is difficult with a new machine like this, is finding exhausts that, sound like you want it to. So hopefully this will help you. I know I've heard the Trinity system on a bunch of other machines and I really like it. So let me flip around here and I will show you what I've done so far to gain access to be able to take the exhaust off before we install the new one. So, all right, starting up here at the front, took both the seats out and also took the back panel off. Got to do that to gain access. And then back here, had to take the tub out. I had both my lock and ride containers in there, so I had to take that out. Once you do that, there's two bolts here, one here, that hold the exhaust shield on, and then inside there's also, it bolts here and there. Now, the funny thing about this, when you get it loose, you don't think you can hardly get it out, but you got to kind of snake it along here, and it wants to hang up on the fill tube over here, so you got to kind of twist it and turn it and get it to come out. It'll come out. You just got to kind of force it out a little bit. Thankfully, you won't have to be putting it back in if you're putting exhaust on. So, but that's pretty much it. And then there's two bolts on top on the exhaust, and then underneath there's four bolts underneath, and it's going to be kind of hard to see them, but they're down underneath here. You don't really need to take this off. You'll need an extension, obviously, but I want to wash this thing off. Don't wash it much with the bed off, so I want to wash it before I take all this stuff apart. I don't want to get a bunch of dirt, even though it is exhaust. I don't want to get a bunch of dirt in the cylinder head. So I will go ahead and wash it off and capture a clip of the exhaust sound, and we'll be back with the installation. All right, I've taken the bumper off, and so one of the things that they don't tell you in the literature for the muffler from Trinity, and I think some of the other ones don't either, this panel right here actually is longer than what you're seeing there. So it goes in there like this, right? So I had to cut this off because the new exhaust basically sits right in the path of this and probably would melt it, but they say to take it off. So that is something that you need to know. So I cut it with the oscillating tool with a blade, and then came back with a sander with like 40 grit sandpaper on it and did that. Got some of the springs and everything off. So I've got the union taken off, and gonna get this off. This is pretty much the same as doing the exhaust, just a slip-on exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way so we can proceed with the rest of the exhaust system. I just wanted to get this all out of the way first and check it out and see what I was up against. All right, be back in a minute. All right, next day, and I had to go get a really long Allen wrench. I probably could have done it with just a regular Allen wrench that had a long handle on it, but I didn't have any of those. So hey, any excuse to go buy another tool, right? So went over to Harbor Freight last night and got some of that. I would have some video of getting the exhaust off, but it's so tight in there that I couldn't even hardly see. I mean, I had to stand on my head in the cab, but I'll show you real quick what we've got going on here. The exhaust is off, and I want to note too that the gasket stayed on the engine, which is great. You definitely want to reuse the gasket from the old exhaust. If for some reason it comes off of the exhaust, you definitely want to take it off and put it back on there. So here's the exhaust system pretty much already, and I got stuff all over the place here because I'm putting all kinds of stuff on this machine. But so there it is without the exhaust on it. We got all that out of the way. Wasn't too big of a deal once I got all the bolts free and everything. There's 6 bolts, 4 on the bottom, 2 on the top. So once I got all that done, then it was pretty easy to get it out. So did disconnect the O2 sensor. One tip on that, I just sprayed it with some WD-40 like a couple nights before I went to take everything off, and it popped right out. So no issues there at all. All right, we're gonna get on to putting the Trinity exhaust on. So see you in a few. All right, so here is the flange for the full system. One thing I wanted to point out, do not forget to put these on the 2 top holes, because those are gonna be what actually hook the springs to the first bend of pipe. So I'm gonna get this on, put those on there, and then I'll start putting the pipe on and keep going on back to the back of the vehicle, and then we'll put the mufflers together and all that stuff. But I just wanted to show you and point out that, you know, don't forget to put those on because you'll have to take the bolts right back out. So, all right, got the first part of the manifold on. One thing, I had to look up the bolts for the torque spec for the exhaust manifold bolts. Those are 17 foot-pounds. So it's not a lot. So don't over torque them and strip your head out or anything like that. But so that's what the torque spec is on that. Those are installed. Got the tabs at the top for the springs. So we'll move on to the next part. All right, Brian from the future here. Just to clarify something, I made a mistake earlier when I was talking about the tabs that the springs attached to. I'm trying to get it to focus on that. I had them at the top, and I don't think that's really the right way. If you look at how I have them now, they're both on the inside, and they pretty much line up with the hoops almost straight on. So I think that's my recommendation, other than putting them straight up because they were at a weird angle that way. And then we got the first piece on of the exhaust. So it's coming out the side here, out the back. And we're going to proceed on with the next pieces. But boy, it sure does look good. And man, it's a hell of a lot lighter than the factory one. All right, back again. Got the center pipe on. This is like a crossover. It looks symmetrical, so make sure when you put it on that you have Trinity facing right side up. You could make a mistake. Ask me how I know about that. Not on this one, but I've done things like that before. So, yep, everything's good. Back to here. Got the springs on. Pretty secure right now. We're about to build the muffler and install it. All right, got the rest of the exhaust on, got the muffler built per the instructions. One thing I did do is I left everything pretty well loose, as you can see there. I just wanted to maybe, I think a good recommendation is kind of wiggle everything around, make sure everything's all seated and that these are even the way you want them and that they're facing the right way. All your springs on and everything, so stuff can kind of settle in. And then it's a matter of tightening those bolts up. I need to put these other bolts in here and put the O2 sensor in. That'd be a good idea. Don't want to throw an engine code right off the bat. Oh, one last thing, and I almost forgot to do this, but a good idea, take some isopropyl alcohol or degreaser or something like that and just kind of wipe the exhaust system down so that when you fire it up for the first time, you don't have all those oils and everything from your hands and all the grease from manufacturing and all that stuff. Wipe all this stuff off really good so that it doesn't discolor the first time you crank it up. There'll be plenty of time for that out on the trail to get discolored. All right, now we're ready. Got the O2 sensor installed, tightened down. Moment of truth, boys. So what did you think of the exhaust? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I really like the way it sounds. You know, there is a performance gain obviously with it. And that's one of the things I wanted to let you know also. Trinity does recommend that if you are doing a full exhaust system like this, you do need some kind of tune. I'll leave a link down below for the exhaust system that I put on here. Not sponsored at all. I will tell you, I dealt directly with Trinity. Awesome people over there. Jake was my salesman, super nice guy. Like I said, not sponsored. I purchased the thing. Everything was prompt service, so can't say enough about the company. This has been Brian for Side by Side Journey. We'll see you in the next video or out on the trail, one of the two.